So you'd like to know what to do when somebody's playing hard to get, or say you're talking to somebody and you can tell that they're somewhat into you, but they're not giving you enough signs that they'd like things to go to the next level. And what are you supposed to do about that? Now, one of the things that people will tell you that you should not do is continually just keep pushing and ignore it and don't worry about it anyway. Most of the time, when somebody is being resistant, but it seems that they like you, there is a mental disconnect going on, or what we call cognitive dissonance. That means on one side, there's some things about you they like, but on the other side, there's some things about you that they haven't yet rectified, things that they're not sure about. And what that usually means is the way that you're interacting with them is not what they want. You have failed to hit something that they really want to see from you. And we often get this in a situation where somebody's physically attracted to you, but you've said something or you're acting in a way that makes them feel unsafe or insecure. And so this will often be characterized by people who say, oh, that person's just being shy, or they're just playing hard to get. When the reality is they're actually nervous, scared, or not sure if you're what they want, despite the fact that there is a level of physical attraction going on. So I've had this. I had one of my students. She was based in New York, and she was obsessed with this model. He was like this big, good-looking guy, and she was completely obsessed with him, but she wasn't letting him get anywhere. And she would come to me for advice on what to do, and I ended up meeting the guy once, and he told me that she was frustrating him, and that she was being a dick tease. And I knew the situation because she was my student. He didn't know that I was her coach. So I knew the reality was she liked him, but she was worried that he was a player and he was just going to use her, leave her, and then she'd be left alone. And her idol would be ruined. Because to her, this was like the imperfect guy. And she had a fear that he would ruin it. So what she wanted to see was actually he shifted a little bit more into being a nice guy. She wanted to see him change his approach and stop being so much of a badass and actually show some vulnerability. So I'll give you an example. I remember this one woman that I absolutely was obsessed with. We had a wonderful relationship, but we never got into a real relationship until one thing happened. So we would go out, we'd make out, we would even sleep together, but we wouldn't date. And the reason we wouldn't date, she told me clearly, she's like, you're too much of a player. I'm absolutely fine for us to be friends that hook up, but we're not going to date. And then one day we were out shopping, and she told me I needed new bed sheets. She's like, you meet random people all the time, and you're sleeping with different people. And this was my hedonistic days. This was a long time ago. I can see what you're saying. You're judging me. I was younger. I made bad choices. But the point is, she was like, you need clean bed sheets. And so we went bed sheet shopping together. And she was like wandering around and trying to help me do it. And I was like, oh, this duvet will be fine. She goes, what do you mean duvet? You need to get the sheets. You need to get the pillows. You need to get all this other stuff in order to make it a real bed. And I was like, I don't know any of that stuff. And she spun in a circle laughing. Like literally like, it's spinning. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And she said to me, I love you. And she'd never said those words before. She'd never crossed that line before. And from that point, we started dating. And I asked her many years later, we were together for 5 years, and I asked her many years later, why was that the point where you said you loved me? And she said, because until that point, I'd never seen weakness. I didn't know what I would add to your life. How can I help you if I don't know what you need help with? And so one of the main reasons why you'll see somebody, they're being shy or they're withholding information or their affections to you, is because they believe that you're so good, you're such a good package, that you must have options, you must have other people, and they can't see why they would be good for you. And it's a huge paradigm shift when that happens in your mind, because often, I work with a lot of guys that have this, they say that, but I see that so often, and I don't think I'm attractive. But it doesn't matter what you think, it's what the other person thinks. And if they can smell a player or someone that they think is just after one thing, then they're gonna pull back and resist because they don't wanna cross that line. And in fact, you'll see this very common when their friends get involved, and their friends will try and say, hey, she's not interested in talking to you, she doesn't want anything, even though the woman is still very interested in you. It's because the friends sense the player vibe. And so they're moving in to protect their friend to stop them from having a heartache. You gotta remember, the friends aren't on a mission to stop you from getting with their friend. They're on a mission to make sure that their friend doesn't have heartache, doesn't get heartbroken. So if you're ever in a situation where you see that some of her friends are trying to pull you away, it is almost always because they are sensing that what you're after isn't actually developing a deep friendship, isn't developing a relationship. It's just going after one thing and trying to make that happen. Now, what's fascinating about this is one of the biggest realizations I had a long time ago is both men and women are equally able to want to just have a relationship and not have casual sex, as well as people that just want to have casual sex and not have a relationship. Both these things are very natural and very normal. And so what you've got to realize is in those situations, you're dealing with somebody who probably doesn't want to just have casual sex and is looking for more of a relationship. And this is where you can use that to guide what you're after. If you are after a relationship, then put the time in. Actually allow it to take its time and relax. Meet the friends, have fun, find real connections, show a bit of vulnerability. Allow that situation to develop slower. On the other hand, if what you're after is something that's a little bit more intimate, something that's like a little bit more of a one-off, then in those situations, I would actually probably go and talk to somebody else because this situation may not develop the way you want it to. Now, there is one other reason why this situation happens, and I've seen this many times before as well, and it's something you've got to watch out for, and that is sometimes somebody will already have a partner, but their relationship isn't ideal and isn't going the way they want. And in these situations, they meet somebody new, they find that there's a level of attraction going on, but they don't want to be the one to cross the line. And I'm never going to forget, I had a woman student I was working with. She's a great girl. She's actually from Dallas, Texas. And she was in a bar, and I knew that she wanted to leave her guy. We'd spoken about it, but she hadn't crossed the line. So she meets this guy in a nightclub, a different guy. And the guy says to her, hey, can I get your phone number? And she says to him, oh, I could never give you my phone number. I've got a boyfriend, but I will be in this bar next week at the same time. And so I said to her, I was like, you are aware that you still gave him a form of contact information. It's just instead of the efficient form of a text communication that we use nowadays, you went with the method that was used about 200 years ago, which is like, I'm going to be here if you want to find me. We can court slowly. I was like, you'd have been so much better off if you just told the truth and explained that, hey, you're in a relationship, but you don't know what's going on, and you don't want to cause drama between you and your boyfriend at this moment, but you really do like him and you'd like to be friends. Can we connect on social media or something else, right? So that is another situation, another scenario. I often find that the reason that students who are looking to improve their dating life struggle, it's because they're making everything about them. So when you're talking to somebody and they're showing a sign of attraction, but it's not going where you want, they ask, what is wrong with me? And oftentimes it's nothing to do with you, but it's just that you're not doing something. Because when you first meet somebody, they don't know who you are. They don't know any of the details about you. They don't know if you're a happy person or a sad person. They just don't know. They only know what they're being confronted with at that exact moment. So if somebody is showing resistance, it means that you've failed to show them an aspect of your personality that they need to see. And so I will think rapidly about how my interaction's gone. I'll ask myself, how much do I actually know about this person? Like, do I have anything in common with them? And if there's not, I often find that building up the amount of things we have in common will increase the likelihood that they feel comfortable with me. And this is because we often look to form relationships with people in our tribe because we consider that safe. Once upon a time, our tribe was literally the people we lived with. Now our tribe has evolved and is mostly about interests. You'll find if you're into, Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead or one of those TV shows, if you meet someone that's into it, the conversation becomes, really fast and animated and you really enjoy it. On the other hand, if you don't like TV at all and you meet somebody that's really into Netflix, you're just like, oh, this sucks. And so that's exactly what I find is usually the fastest way to build that deeper connection. So if you're talking to somebody and it's not going where you want, try and rapidly build up those quicker connections because that's what's going to make the big difference.